Welcome. Well, if this is the first video you've ever watched of mine and you're still watching, this is the right channel for you. Talk about screening people. Nothing will get the non-serious manifestors off the channel faster than my singing. Or maybe we'll bring more of them in. So let's jump right into it. I've got a few things to touch upon. This might be a rambling video, and yet I've got to pick up my daughter at preschool in a little bit. So we'll see what happens. We had a nice group session yesterday, and somebody who was on the call had a follow-up question that I hear often, and it is very important. Like the last video I did regarding Coué and Sammy Ingram and just repeating something again and again, this kind of question, the answer that I'm going to give, it needs to, it's the kind of thing we have to hear multiple times to really even begin to process. And then we have to hear it over and over again and remind ourselves of it. The general gist of this question, and this person can send me a follow-up email if they need more clarification, info@radicalcounselor.com. The gist of this question was basically like, I'm confused about affirming or auto-suggesting to myself. Like, do I have to visualize while I'm doing it? And the answer is no. The answer is no. The reason that I talk about affirming and auto-suggestion, which are the same thing as far as I'm concerned for practical purposes, the reason I talk about auto-suggestion and affirming so much is because it's one of the more simple ways, foolproof ways, you might say, to shift how you think about a thing. And so a lot of the really interesting and engaging, you might say, like manifesting techniques that are out there, like a lot of Neville's techniques or some of like the Abraham Hicks, like raise your vibration techniques, or a lot of the techniques I talk about on the podcast. It involves more emotional investment in the sense that if you don't feel it, it's hard for the technique to work well for you. I mean, like I was saying last video, if you don't feel as if, how the hell are you supposed to feel as if? If you don't feel as if, how are you supposed to feel as if, right? If you don't believe, how do you force yourself to believe? And so the reason I discuss affirming and autosuggestion so much is not because I personally love it as a technique for myself. I don't. Like I said, I don't like affirming particularly all that much. I just know it freaking works when most things don't work. And, I should mention, I didn't mention last video, longtime viewers obviously know this about my suggestions. I'm very stress management oriented. I think if you feel more relaxed, better things are going to happen in your life. You're going to manifest better things in your life. Okay, that's my main gist, period. So it kind of goes without saying that, like a lot of things I talk about in the Joy of Not Thinking and my Stop Being Serious video series, moving around, that will make you feel better and more relaxed. And directly because of that, you will see better things happening in your life. That you don't have to believe shit. If you move around and jump around like a monkey and scream or do some stupid singing like I did at the beginning of this video, it's going to lower your stress level, right? So that's something else you can do when you don't believe. But that's not directly related to trying to manifest something externally in your life. That's more like it's an association. Affirming lets us directly work on trying to manifest something external in our life that we want, whether it's better health, a better relationship, more money, a better job. This person's question was in regard to a job promotion. It lets us work with that and use these manifesting techniques when we do not believe it's gonna work. That is the power of what I like to call active affirming, or like what Sammy Ingram often talks about when she says you just repeat something over and over again. And obviously, or I should say, I assume it's obvious. If it's not obvious, to be clear, it's better to feel that it's going to happen. Obviously, or I think obviously, right? For most people, it's obviously better if you feel it, if you can imagine it, and you can be like, oh my God, this is going to happen. Or you can say, oh, this has already happened. But it's also fine to be like, this is going to happen. I feel it. This is happening. To paraphrase Émile Coué, my main man when it comes to understanding these manifesting principles, he said, if you think something is going to happen, it's going to happen. Practically speaking, if it's within the realms of nature, you're going to get something like what you think is going to happen if you really believe it's going to happen. You're going to get a good match. And, that's just how it works. That's how life works. That's Coué's observation. We don't have to agree with it 100% necessarily. We don't have to see this as dogmatic law, but generally speaking, if you expect something, and you expect it and continue to expect it, and you expect it for long enough, and you genuinely expect it, it's going to happen in your life. Affirming and autosuggestion, as opposed to visualization, which really helps evoke this feeling of oh, it's going to happen, or it's happened. It's already happened internally, and it's inevitably going to manifest externally in my world, right? That's like Neville exercises. A lot of the Joseph Murphy law of assumption exercises is like that. You evoke a feeling, and it's like, oh yeah, this is going to happen, or oh, it's happened, it's done, it's going to happen. Affirming can be like that too. You say something over and over again and it gets you in the mood. You're like, oh yeah, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. But what happens? What's the case when, what do you do when that's not the case? You're like, this is not going to fucking happen. I'm not going to get this job promotion. This is fucking nuts. This is magical bullshit thinking I'm having here. This is delusional. That, my friend, is when you can use affirmations and autosuggestion to your advantage. And the way to do it, in my opinion, in that situation, is you affirm the fuck out of what you want. And the phrasing doesn't matter. You use what phrasing feels best to you. It can be like, I am going to get this, or I already have this. This is going to happen. This has happened. I feel so good this has happened. You can phrase it any way you want. But the gist is you pick a phrase, preferably or probably a short phrase, right? That's easy to repeat over and over again. Maybe you have two phrases, but I wouldn't have more than one, I really wouldn't have more than one probably, but more than two is probably too many. Just saying this thing is going to happen, right? Or has happened. And then you repeat the fuck out of it. Because what occurs in our life, what Coué says, and what I agree with him, generally speaking, is we even though it seems like we're having all these thoughts, we're imagining constantly all this stuff, it's really one thought at a time that's going through our conscious mind. One thought at a time. And if you want a job promotion, and you feel like it's impossible, most of the thoughts that you have when you think about your job are that it's impossible to get a promotion. By replacing those thoughts, which come one after another when you think about your job, for good or bad, by I'm going to get this job, or I have this new job's about to happen, this is great, I got promoted, I can't believe it, I got promoted. By starting to put that in there, the overwhelming negative assessment of your promotion not being possible starts to drop down. So right now, in regards to your job promotion, if you feel it's not likely to happen or nearly impossible, probably 90% of your thoughts when you think about your job are that your job promotion is not possible. Only 10% of your thoughts, maybe when you're affirming, for instance, or trying to visualize or whatever, are saying, oh yeah, this is going to happen. You want to get that percentage down so you start thinking more and more positively that it is going to happen. If you affirm over and over again throughout the day to yourself or out loud, I think if you do it out loud, a lot of times it's easier to kind of start to draw out that feeling that it's going to happen. But obviously, if you're doing it a lot, it's going to be silently a lot of the time. If you do that, that number, 90% negativity, is going to start to go down. And if you really affirm a lot, because you're not always thinking about your job. A lot of the time, sometimes like in health situations or real critical situations, we're thinking negatively about something almost all of our waking hours. That's when you really got to affirm the fuck out of things. Like, counteract that negativity with a positive statement, right? But a job thing, a lot of the time, a lot of situations in our life, like things we want, right? It's not like we're thinking about our job every waking moment. So you're probably not going to have to be affirming every waking moment that you want something that you don't have now. But you want to spend a significant amount of time each day, at least 10 or 20 minutes, at least, where you're affirming, I'm going to get this new job, or whatever phrase that's really resonates the most with you, that this is going to actually happen. What I would suggest is making sure you have at least 10 or 20 minutes a block where you just do that straight. Sammy Ingram, I know, suggests something like that. But I would also just do it throughout the day, whenever you can. Just be thinking that thought. Replace the thought that you're having about your job with a positive thought. The more you implant a positive thought in your mind, as opposed to a negative thought, the more likely and quickly this job promotion is going to happen. Now, to get back to this person's question, do you have to visualize when you affirm? Absolutely fucking not. Listen, apple. When I said apple just now, did you think of an apple? Fuck yeah, you did, probably. Camel. Did you think of a camel? Of course you fucking did. You just visualized. That's it. You do not have to evoke a scene. When you say something, there's an image associated with it. At least most of the time. The phrase you say over and over again, make sure when you say it that immediately something comes to mind. You don't have to hold on to that image or anything, but like job promotion. When you say that, you're going to think, oh my God, this is my job promotion. You're not going to say, oh my God, but it's like, okay, I got my promotion, job promotion. So don't worry about visualizing. Speech and image are tied together. It's automatically going to happen. You automatically visualize. People who say they can't visualize, I usually don't understand that whatsoever. Just say the fucking thing. You're visualizing. It doesn't have to be esoteric or complicated or evocative. You do not have to have an evocative visual scene like Neville talks about. Neville says this himself. He says you can just say a short phrase like, it's over, it's finished, it happened, oh my God, isn't it wonderful, over and over and over again to evoke a feeling. If you repeat something and can't evoke a feeling, just keep on fucking repeating it. You repeat it for long enough that 90% negativity is gradually going to go down. When it gets down below 50%, you're going to become more and more convinced that this thing actually somehow, some fucking way is going to happen. This should make sense what I'm talking about. This is why I talk about Sammy Ingram on this channel. Again, a lot of people get pissed at me for talking about Sammy Ingram, because they don't agree with her sensibility. Guess what? I don't agree with a lot of stuff she says either, at all. But unlike most of these law of assumption teachers out there, she has something intelligent to say in regards to a technique and approach for manifesting stuff easily. And that is, you repeat the fuck out of phrases. Another book, I mentioned this in another video I did about Sammy a couple months ago, that you should look at, is How to Solve All Your Money Problems Forever by Victor Bach. Victor Bach, if you like Sammy's advice, you should check out this book by Victor Bach. He does a really good job at talking about implanting images in your mind through affirmations. Here, I'm just going to read something really short because I have to go soon. He says, taking control. You pick. Either you voluntarily plant into your subconscious mind the images you select, the images you want to manifest, or your mind feeds on whatever images reach it as a result of your neglect. This is like what Coué was talking about. There exists no shortage of bleak, poverty-ridden images waiting to take root. Your subconscious mind will not lie idle. In other words, your imagination will not lie idle. It will surely find something to do. If you get nothing else from this chapter, get this. You can voluntarily implant into your subconscious mind any image you so desire. You know how you do that? You just fucking say a phrase over and over again. I'm getting this job promotion. I'm getting this job promotion. I'm getting this job promotion. That's implanting something. When you don't believe, just do that. I hope that's clear. If you need more clarity, let me know. If you want to go much deeper and shift stuff much faster in your life and want coaching or counseling with me where we go deep on this stuff and I clarify things quickly for you to change your life, radicalcounselor.com. Until next time, enjoy.